Every time I go to the jungles in East Africa, when we finish whatever, I like to see the animal kingdom. You see a mama chimpanzee, see a monkey moving. The baby is following him behind, looking at the bum. Ordinary pants, after 6,000 years, they have not invented. Just toothbrush. Can you imagine not brushing your mouth for 3 days? The kind of things that will be coming out from it. I brush my mouth twice a day, minimum. And then you leave it for 24 hours, for 3 days. And you have animals jumping around in the bush. They have not brushed for the last 40 years. You can now understand what happens when they bite people.
Welcome to Dominion Mandate, a platform where we awaken a deep hunger for the pursuit of God and equip believers to dominate their world for Christ. Here, we dive into the Word of God, explore timeless truths, and ignite a passion for spiritual growth, purpose, and kingdom influence. This is not just another channel, it's a movement.
So there are 4 things here. Number 1, where we came from, who made us, and how he made us. If that question is answered well, it destroys evolution. It destroys all these useless theories that are out there. What the world wants to know is, where did we come from? I'm coming. Second one, who caused the problem? Look at problems everywhere. Murder, rape, evil in the world. The world is blaming God for the problems that we have in our world and in our society. And anytime they blame God, the next thing they do, they look for the institution that represents him and pass the blame. So once they blame God, they blame the church. The world is blaming God for the problems in the universe. So you have to help people know who caused the problem. Number 3, then help them know who solved the problem. He did not cause it, but he solved it by pain and how he did it. Finally, show people how to receive the solution that has been provided, and then how we are to live and how we are to be once we have received that solution. I'm going to repeat that. How we are to be and how we are to live after we have received that solution. That's the gospel. If you can give this to anybody and help them understand it, they will be saved and saved to their bone marrow. Where did we come from? So you see, when I go to the West, where you can imagine a nation like Turkey is supposed to be majority is Muslim country, but it's not true. About half of them don't believe in God. They are atheists. They don't believe in anything. But just because they lost their faith in God doesn't mean we have won them to Christ. They are just there roaming, waiting for somebody with an answer. Where did we come from? So when they talk about the theory of evolution, how we evolve from lower microbes all the way, it's very simple. I tell them, we are the ones that live in Africa. We live with the chimpanzees. We live with the monkeys. We live with the what's the higher orangutan. We live with them. I said, after 6,000 years, the monkey family have not learned how to make toothpick. And the reason is simple. Man is not an animal. In the body, there might be some similarities, but there is something that made us different. God made us, not just that he made us in his own words. He made us in his own image and likeness. Every time I go to the jungles in East Africa, when we finish whatever, I like to see the animal kingdom. You see a mama chimpanzee, see a monkey moving. The baby is following him behind, looking at the bum. Ordinary pants, after 6,000 years, they have not invented. Just toothbrush. Can you imagine not brushing your mouth for 3 days? The kind of things that will be coming out from it. I brush my mouth twice a day, minimum. And then you leave it for 24 hours, for 3 days. And you have animals jumping around in the bush. They have not brushed for the last 40 years. You can now understand what happens when they bite people. Just toothpick, they have not invented. So let's not talk about toothbrush or toothpaste. So if you believe that you're an animal, I'm sorry for you. I'm not. I'm created in God's class. And Pastor Neil just said it, that the first quality of God revealed in the Bible is creativity. God is a creator. That's why I'm highly creative, because I'm made in his image. Somebody hearing what I'm saying? Okay, so here is the point. Any society that receives the divine nature, the message of the divine nature, and is helped to accept it, changes. It becomes a creative society. It becomes an empowered society. Do you know the basis for apartheid and oppression in South Africa? The Dutch Reformed Church taught Genesis chapter 1 that God gave man dominion over the beasts of the field, and they taught the South Africans that they are the beasts of the field, while the man that was given dominion were the whites. Just that distortion of the first pillar of the gospel, it can enable you to keep a whole generation in slavery. A man that had discovered himself in God, discovered the image of God in him, you cannot hold him down. God was talking to me sometimes about the ministry of Moses and how to have a ministry to the poorest people on earth, most battered people. You can have a ministry to the slaves, and that's actually the acid test of your ministry. Where people are when you met them, and where you take them after they listen to you for a while. So God said to me, it doesn't matter where I send you. It can be to prostitutes, and you know, when you go abroad, you see all sorts. Hey, if you see what drugs are done to people, we bring them out of that place. Don't join. It's actually out of the gates of hell. And then help them, just help rekindle the light of hope inside the man. He's still bound physically, but once you can bring the gospel and rekindle light inside him, from inside the thing will start. And you see a man that is twisted. Some of them are now bent like this. After a while, he's cleaned up. Next thing you see him in church in suit and tie, he's a pastor. Next time you see him. I remember one particular girl, she has even done some procedures to cross gender. Oh yes. When she went through, next time I came back to that church in US, and see this lady, it brought a young man to me to introduce that, you know, they're engaged, they're getting married. This pretty girl. And then I know. He said, you know me now, can't you remember myself? I don't think we have met. He said, do you remember that person last year that looked like a man? Because when she had actually developed features like dresses like, I said, yes. He said, it's me, pastor. Remember how you ministered to me and you handed me over to this whatever to mentor me for the next one? I say yes. And guess she's marrying a pastor. After I called the husband, I said, I thought she had transited. He said no. She did some procedure, but she did not touch left the equipment intact. So that's okay. Then you are safe. It becomes more serious when they have cut out, especially the males, cut out things, and the doctors know how to destroy. They don't know how to put back. And we also have solution for such people. Tell them there's a special ministry in the Bible called the ministry of an Enoch. You say yes. You need to take up that ministry. And that's actually how I explain this gender confusion to them whenever I'm in the West. I said, there's nothing wrong with you, primarily. Don't worry. That is at the attraction stage until we take them to where we cast the devil out. But at the initial stage, I said, there's nothing wrong. Because they tell you, I don't feel like a man, I don't feel like a woman, I don't. So, are you telling me that God made a mistake? I said, no. There's actually a ministry, special ministry, the ministry of Enoch. Some people are born that way. You don't have anything for the opposite sex. That doesn't mean you should go and declare yourself another. And people like that can dedicate themselves to a higher purpose. I tell them that Paul was like that, this one was like that. They said, I say, yes. It is purpose that you're missing. There's nothing wrong with it. But when they get into the theater, we have some extra surgery we do in the brain. Yeah. Without destroying the person's identity. Okay, so the first thing is God, where we came from. The world wants to know where we actually came from. So when God was teaching me about ministry, like you might You might find that the people you're dealing with are battered, are broken, or maybe they are poor or whatever. That's exactly what Moses faced. The acid test of ministry is not that you package your ministry, run around the rich. The gospel is to the poor, but the gospel doesn't leave the poor poor. The gospel comes to them and transforms them into. The gospel comes to the needy. That's the point. It comes to the needy. It's like marketing. If you want the product to sell fast, start from the needs. Study the needs of the market, then go and design the product or design services to meet that need. Don't start from your design room and design what people don't need. Start from market assessment, market study, and then find what is needed. Either a need that exists that is not being met, or the one that exists that is being poorly served. Then you come up with a solution, package it. It's the same thing here. Let me move. God made us. You see, this pillar is where we do that greatest job of helping people find their identity and find their purpose. Here. The acid test of your ministry is not running around trying to get the governors and everybody to start coming to your church. No. The first set of people that will follow you will be broken people, shattered people, poor people, people who don't know where they are going. It is what you do with them, what you do with them, that will send a message to the ready-made guys out in the city that those my initial men, like when David was in the jungle, he had 400 people. Those my initial men are the ones that now give 1 billion, give hundreds of millions in the ministry today. If I take you and show you their pictures, some of them you see big heads standing on. That time I was pushing myself to go for self-development. I had them like the high priest in my heart. What do I do with this man? How do I? Because our work started from campus. We started with teenagers and students. These are the ones that will call me now and say, they don't think twice about it. If I have something heavy weight to lift, I can just ask, 12 of you, they lift it. The proof of your ministry. So what Moses did is he went to slaves. So God said, this is the message you will take to them. Show them where they came from. Tell them, this is Moses' message. In the beginning, God. And tell them in the beginning, God created. Show them that after he made everything in the universe, he now made his masterpiece. When he reproduced himself in man, tell them that they are God's masterpiece, that they are the masters of creation. He created them to rule and to dominate. Now you are telling this to slaves who don't have any faith in themselves, who don't believe in anything anymore, who have been battered and ordered. And this is how, from a bunch of slaves, Israel has become one of the most powerful nations on earth today. If you see the kind of indomitable spirit in them today, the wrong message will have created a nation of slaves. They don't believe in themselves, don't believe they can achieve anything. That small nation is the startup capital of the world. This is what you must do with your church. This is what you must do with your people. And this is what I learned. The Holy Spirit helped me to understand this. The moment you invest in your people and grow that divine image, that dominion consciousness in them, what will happen is that Isaiah's system will come into operation. Aliens will come and be your problem. You start attracting both home and abroad, all classes of people. I entered one country in Europe. This white man donated himself to me. He said, I'm your offering. Carry me anywhere. I want to be following you. Anything you want. I want to be. Yeah. I sat him down to find out his profession, and after looking at the level of skill and competency this man had, but that's Isaiah's system. Foreigners will be your vine dressers. Foreigners will be, but it comes when you work on your people first. Then the governor will start respecting you. Then the senators will start respecting you. You want to attract their respect first, while ignoring your vineyard. Don't bother about politicians. Don't bother about. Focus on the work that God has given you. Until that ground. Without looking for anybody anywhere. 2 times now I've been invited to address the United Nations. One time, first time, I was worried about something. I don't want to talk about it. I sent him. He was on the floor of the United Nations in New York, reading my speech to nations. I did not lobby for it. It was a project we were doing for the Nigerian youth that attracted them. Young people that couldn't pay us. They couldn't pay us back. I've received all kinds of awards. There are some of them, if I say it, sometimes my own brethren wonder if I'm still with them or not. I have Usman Danfodi Award. I have Sadana of Sokoto Award. Muslims. Stop neglecting those. That's what Idausa taught me. I was going to him. You look at the big ministry, you want to go for what they have in their hand. No. Go to learn the secret behind that. He said, you see those your young men? Go back and invest in them. So, okay, where did we come from? Who caused the problem? The world is blaming the church for the problems of the world. They're blaming the church for the problems of the society. They're blaming you for the problems of Nigeria. I don't know if you know what is going on with social media now. They are blaming pastors. It is going to be a revolution. Do you know what they are saying? Now, once they finish with the politicians, that the next thing will be the clergymen. Help people know who caused the problem. The church did not create the problem. The church is here to solve the problem. Help people know how the evil in the world got here. It is Satan that spoiled God's creation. There's something in the Old Testament. They were not able to discern and separate the devil, the work of the devil, from the work of God. For example, a demon will be doing something, they will call it an evil spirit from the Lord. In the Old Testament, it wasn't separated. It wasn't. So a child might be convulsing, they will say it's an evil spirit. In the New Testament, Jesus made the separation. He said, the thief cometh but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. I come to give life and give it what? All I need to analyze is what that thing is doing. Is he stealing? Is he killing? Is he destroying? I know who is behind it. So that theology of it's God that made you sick so he can make you humble, throw that into the trash can. It's God that made you poor. So the world is blaming God. Among the toughest arguments I've heard, when I try to point out that it's the devil that spoiled God's creation, they'd ask me, but who made the devil? So God has to take responsibility. So I answer it in a very simple way. I said, okay, as parents, you give birth to a child, you give birth to him innocent. Your child grows, he's 40, and he goes for armed robbery, he kills people, or he kidnaps people. Should you be arrested and jailed for what your son did? Excuse me, answer my question. Do you have children, Pastor? How many? 5. You have a boy. The boy robs a bank. Should you be arrested and jailed for what your boy did? Help me tell your friend, the devil is an adult. He should answer for his part. Anytime people blame God, do you know what I do? I use the mirror effect. Because he made us like him. And I mirror that thing to them. Once you bring it to their court, they judge it, they see what the right thing is. So there has never been a case where we reversed it and God is found guilty in the court of human opinion. For example, I have another way I deal with that. One case I met, said this man, white man, he said he doesn't believe in all those. I said, no problem, sir. I said, do you know the risk God took? God took a risk by giving human being the power of volition, the power of choice. He gave it to angels. He gave it to us. And that's why you are blaming him. I said, but he had another choice. And he considered the two. The other one is to make us without any ability to think, without any ability to choose. And that would have been like a robot. But I said, how will you like your children to be robots? Can I pay you and collect the kids and give you machines? Because the machine will never disobey you. When you want praise and worship, you program it. So the moment you're coming home, you press a button, they will start singing, hallelujah. Will you feel loved that the machine is singing to you? I love you, daddy. Mommy, you're welcome. I love you. You are the one that put the voice inside. So will it work? No. So when I ask them, how will you feel if all your children loses their mind? If all of them are zombies, how will you feel? So that they don't disobey you, they always do what you want. Anything you command them, they do. They tell me, we don't like it. I want real people. I said, but the risk here is that this boy can grow up and disobey you because of that choice. That girl can grow up tomorrow and decide not to. I said, and when your daughter does that to you, how will you feel? They will tell me it will break their heart. I said, that's exactly what God is going through. I said, look at you that you're saying, I don't believe in anything. It's the same power he gave you that you're using against him. But God weighed the risk and said, I still prefer to have a woman that loves me out of her own choice, not a woman I forced into love or marriage. I want people. And that's why when you lift your hands in worship, you don't know what it does to the heart of the Father. Do you know what it does when your son comes back and says, Daddy, thank you for everything that you've done for us? You know, my son bought, the guy has floated 2 businesses, has a business in US. That thing communicates 1,000,001. The world needs to know who caused the problem. When they find out, at that moment, you can create divorce between them and Satan. You can. A preacher, the power God gave to preachers. And then finally, the world needs to know who solved the problem. That out of love for us. And remember that in causing the problem, Satan caused it, but you have to show them that we connive with him to create the problem. He succeeded because man took side with Satan. We collaborated with him and took side against God. And it was that rebellion that brought the fall. Anyway, show them who solved the problem. And what motivated him? It was love for us. When God saw us in our fallen state, saw us, the master of creation, the original God of this earth, now a slave, he broke his heart. He paid the price for our redemption out of his love for us. And that's what necessitated the cross. And this is where you bring that active ingredient, the message of the cross. And I'm not going to waste much time, but I want to say this. Don't just jump out and offer people salvation. It doesn't work. They have to know. You have to first help them do diagnosis and realize their need. Sir, if I walk in here, and just offer you HIV drug, how will you say it?
I don't want to take it.
Maybe because you respect me, you will insult me. Some other people will give you, when they finish insulting, what is the meaning of that? But if you go to the lab and the diagnosis is positive, you go to another one and check, it's positive, and you are now in that state, depressed, wondering what to do with your life, and then I come to you and say, sir, don't worry, they have found the cure. It's a breakthrough and it works. This is it. How will you feel?
I'll be so happy. I'll take it.
That skill of transiting people from awareness of their problem to the availability of the solution is what causes joy in receiving Christ. The first one, the diagnosis, is what brings conviction. And then when you get to that point where you realize Christ's love and what he did, and then the final part is showing people how to receive it. And the way to receive it is by faith. Find my message on that. I've done at least 2 or 3 uploaded teachings on that. It will help you. The message that works. The message that works. Find your own way of explaining it. Find your own way of bringing life back to the gospel. As a minister, you have to know how to preach the gospel before you talk about any other thing. Whatever your message is, you have to know how to bring that message that saves people. Until you're able to preach the gospel, you have not preached anything. If you're teaching your congregation how to prosper or teaching them whatever, you finish, you have just discipled a group of unbelievers. What's the use? And then because of not administering the drug right, we have a lot of fake converts. The last part is you show people how to receive it, and it's done by faith. And there's something I need to say about this subject of faith. Don't worry about that word faith. Faith comes into people while you're preaching the gospel. It is the cross. When you preach it right, it injects faith, the saving faith in people. Actually, people receive faith by what they hear from you. If faith was not born, you need to check what you seeded them. You can't seed people with doubt, seed people with fear, and expect faith. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? One of the things I've learned, it doesn't matter what the subject is. Whether you're preaching about hell, preaching about judgment, preaching about second coming of Christ, make sure that that element of faith is found in it. Don't preach judgment and just leave people hopeless. You want to teach about eternal judgment. You want to teach about the judgment seat of Christ. You want to teach about the white throne judgment. Don't end it with judgment. Always show them back how Christ, through his death on the cross, made a way for us to escape. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? That's how faith comes.